Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Hello. Welcome, welcome. We are going to get started here in just a couple of minutes, so bear with us. We have some amazing special guests joining us today. I'm super excited. Thank you guys for being early. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome.
I forgot I had that background.
That's a great background.
That was my Bali background.
I love it. So we've got attendees who are here with us already, and we're going to wait for our other two panelists to join us here in the next couple of minutes, and then we'll click live in our Conscious Educator Facebook group. We'll get all this technology figured out. Like flowing well today. I think that's one of the blessings of being an online educator is that, you know, as we get it going, it's like, it's working. Awesome. So how's your day so far? Anything beautiful and exciting in your world?
I'm on spring break. It's a wonderful day.
It's a fantastic day. I love it. Those of you who don't know Allison, she's in Florida. So if you're wondering,
yes,
we're currently on spring break right now.
Beautiful weather and spring break.
Love it. Love it, love it. All right, so let me go over to Facebook and double check this happening. Make sure I can get it all working. Nope, it's wanting me to redo it again. Sometimes when I do it, you know, ahead of time, it doesn't like it. Oh, maybe it did work. Yay! See, there I go, trying to jinx the process. We got it, we got it. Yeah, so everyone who's an attendee in here, if you are all automatically muted and not on video because it's a webinar format versus a meeting format. And if you could, when you are typing in the chat, there's a little box, a little blue box that says 2. And if you can click on that and then click that you are going to chat with all panelists and attendees, that would be awesome. So that you're chatting with panelists and attendees, not just the panelists, so that all the attendees can see your beautiful comments as well. But all of you who are attendees your videos are off and you are muted unless we can click buttons to bring you on with us, and we might get to that point here in a little while. But for now, we are welcome, Greg. So good to see you.
Hey there, how you guys doing?
I'm so happy to have you here.
Woo woo, let's get it.
Making time. That's awesome. Greg, meet Allison. You guys should know each other. And we have Shiva, who is coming in as Allison as well. And I'm sure she'll change her name unless she wants to be we've got 2 Allisons. You guys look a little bit different. There we go. Awesome. Hi, Shiva.
Hey.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
I am so excited for today. This is like a favorite thing. So welcome everyone to the Global Impact Educator webinar. I have 3 amazing panelists today. We're doing things a little bit different because y'all know I like to shake it up. And for those of you that don't know, my name is Sandy Herrera. I am the CEO of Educator Dynamics and Genius School US. And I am on a mission to revolutionize education through igniting the inner genius in all educators around the planet and helping them become edupreneurs. So with that work, I have these 3 genius educators that I have been working with for a few years now, and they have some amazing wisdom to share with you all as we kind of navigate and find some sanity in this redonkulously adventurous, is that a good way to say it? World of hybrid education. Can we just call it redonkulously adventurous? Is that a positive way to say that? That works, right? It's might be the understatement of the century, but it's all good, right? So excited to have you guys here. I would love for each of you to do just a little bit of an intro, maybe 30, 60 seconds, and also share what you are grateful for. Like, what was your micro moment from either today, or I guess it's just Monday. I was going to say this week, but it's only Monday. So let's go with today. Let's go with today. So Sheba, you want to take it over first?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Sheba Rashada. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Sandy. So I am currently the behavior strategist at Woodbury Middle School. And basically what I do is I'm over the day-to-day operations of the Student Affairs Office. So that's working with the kind of the softer things that happen on the discipline end, and also with student incentives as well. So this is my 11th year in education. Very, very excited about it. This year has definitely showed us what it's like to be new all over again, whether you've been in the field for 20 years or 2. And let's see, something great that happened today. Well, we had some students show up for WIDA testing, even though it was supposed to start on Wednesday. They were here today and just very excited just to be on campus. So I'm very excited to see them in a few days.
Love it, Sheba. Welcome. Happy to have you. Greg, you want to go next?
I sure do. Hello, everybody. I'm Greg Winowitz. I've been with, and thank you, Sandy, for having me. I appreciate the invite. I've been with CCSD since 2010, so I got 11 years too. And I've been an administrator for 2 years now. Currently, I'm at MLK Elementary School. My mom's also an educator, and she teaches 2nd grade over at Hollingsworth Elementary School. One thing I'm really grateful for today is this is my only meeting of the day, and I don't even count this as a meeting. So today I was able to walk around and talk to kids and adults, and it was a very social day. So very happy day today.
That's a great day.
Hi, everybody.
Love it, Greg. That's awesome. And I just typed it in the chat, but those of you watching, please let us know who you are, where you're from, and what you are grateful for from today, so that we can see all of the amazing gratitude in the world. Allison, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm Allison Brannick. As always, Sandy, thank you for including me in the conversation. I am in Northport, Florida, so on the West Coast, Central Florida. We are on spring break this week, but this is my 14th year in education. I spent 8 years in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade classrooms. And then the last 6 years, my title is instructional coach, but we are at a charter, so I wear many hats. And we do not have an assistant principal, so my dean of students and I kind of tackle that role together. So I kind of see myself just a supporter, shining my light on everybody and kind of supporting, the students, the staff, the leadership. And something today, besides being on spring break, I actually took some time to do a little, project at home because my brain could actually process that. And I cleaned out a filing cabinet that I've had since I left the classroom, probably have not opened it. And it was just so nice to see as a teacher what I've done. And, just like all the things before there was a teacher pay teacher, all the things that I created, and just kind of reconnect with that part of my educator self. So that was pretty awesome.
That's awesome. I love that. That's so fantastic. And those of you that are chiming in with us, Ayushi, welcome from India. It's 4:05 a.m. Thanks for waking up for us. Super excited you're here, and totally fine that you can't speak. We're good with you typing. And we've got Claudia from Argentina. So loving our global community of conscious educators. You guys are brilliant and doing such amazing work in the world. I am so excited for this conversation because it's not about self-care, because you all want to punch someone in the face when they say that word to you at this point. I've heard that from so many educators. Someone else says the word self-care to me, I'm literally going to it's not going to be pretty. So that's not what today's about. Today is really about finding your level of sanity and, as always, owning your power as a conscious educator and doing this in a way where, we know that you can't not do this work. So I wanted you to hear from educators who are doing this work and doing it in a way where, even though they don't think that they're doing well some days, because they tell me sometimes, they're killing it. These three are finding a way to navigate personally, professionally, and really continue to drive their purpose in this world forward, of inspiring and influencing young people. So again, just so grateful and inspired by the three of you as always. So I have a few questions. I'm gonna kind of sit back and be like the interviewer today, which I'm really kind of excited about. So it's going to be kind of open for whoever wants to chime in. There may be a question that I kind of ask as a follow-up, but that's kind of the format we're going to take today. And so if anyone has any questions, feel free. Raina's in the background helping look for questions, whether you're watching us stream on Facebook or whether you're typing into the chat. But make sure in the chat you are typing to all panelists and attendees. There's a little blue box in the to field. Click on the down arrow. I can speak today. And make sure it's to all panelists and attendees so that everyone can see your questions, and we'll hopefully be able to get to all of them. So, and Angela, welcome from Oak Park, and grateful that your husband's off today. Yay, good stuff. So let's take it away with, let's talk about a day in the life. Okay, so let's just ground us in the fact that let's have us realize that we're not alone. So if each of you could share just a little bit of what it's like in your world on a daily basis. And I know that there's no average day. I totally get that. So pick one that you recently had, pick an overall general statement, however you want to describe a day in your life. Whoever wants to go first is fine with me. Who's ever ready? Allison, you have a big grin on your face. You want to go first?
This is like a very hard question because I feel like every day is different.
That's why I said it can be an ish.
So
sometimes you're like this or like this. It's fine.
Yeah. We have here in Florida been back full in class in school building since August. And so we did have about 40% of our kiddos remote at the beginning of the year. And now we are actually down to like only 14% of our population is at home, and the rest are in the school building. So there are days that it feels like a typical school year. There is a lot of focus on social emotional learning each day. So in my role, sometimes I pop on morning announcements that are broadcast to the whole school and do a little mini lesson for that. Or we talk about it in our leadership team meeting or in our school-wide support team meetings, and really making sure just the well-being of everyone involved in serving kids is really kind of our focus in every regard that we can possibly do that. So the conversation, I guess my daily thing that, the same thing that happens every day is that conversation of not asking how are you, because that's a very triggering question at this point for some people, but really just kind of looking at what's going on around us and how are we being proactive about things rather than reactive. And really making sure that we're super intentional in the meetings that we're holding for staff, in the conversations that we're having with staff, in the article studies that we're doing or whatever it is, and really making sure that any meeting that I'm holding that is for teachers is really I don't know how to put it, really appropriate for the time, and helping them understand that as a leadership team, we have also shifted how we're showing up and shifted our thought process of what this year entails. So making sure that they feel really supported. And that's trickling down to students, whether it's me going in a classroom to model a little SEL lesson. We actually, the support team just recently did a series. So every Monday, we each took a second grade classroom. We went into the classroom, we read a picture book. We did something about regulating our emotions. Having big emotions is fine, but how do we kind of process those and make sure they don't take over our day? So that has really been the focus of my days as of late. We're going into state testing season here, which feels harsh. So really ramping up that, okay, we're here to support you and you're here to support kids, and we're not worried about the outcome at this point as much as we can say that. So I guess, I don't know if I gave you a day or not a day, but that feels like a lot, but I feel like that's what happens every day. So yeah, it's a lot of me having conversations all day with different groups of people that are at our school, and just kind of seeing how I can proactively work with them to make sure that we're showing up as the best that we can each day.
Love it. Thanks, Allison. Let's
Yeah.
go next. Day in the life. Go ahead, Sheba.
So my days, just like Allison's, you never know what it's going to be on any given day. I'm sure the same for Greg as well. So typically, you know, in the years prior, I was an instructional coach. So that means that I would be supporting teachers directly with any type of instructional practice. What I did is I would go into classrooms, I would, you know, just observe them when they were instructing students and then provide feedback. So what I did wasn't evaluative in any way. It was really just working with teachers. So what I think I do now, I mean, it has a little bit more, you know, there's more layers this year. But what I do is I try to support teachers in that same way, but now more specifically in areas of behavior management. So in our district, and I'm in the secondary level, our students won't be coming back until next Monday. And at our school, it's only about a third of our students that will be back on campus. So for the most part, for the last year, our students have been all online. With that, our teachers have access to a program, and I don't know if you guys are using it, where you all are, wherever in the world, we use GoGuardian. So that means our teachers can monitor the screens of all of their students in the classroom. So now, while this helps to keep, you know, teachers patched into what students are doing, in a way, it's almost made teachers hypervigilant, because the things that you could get away in class, you know, a kid throwing a note or, you know, playing with a toy, a fidget spinner or something else, it's not like that now, because now your teacher can see everything that's going on online. So usually what I've been trying to do is to just work with teachers to still feel empowered in their classroom, have that autonomy to manage the classroom the way they want without driving themselves crazy with the small things that kids do. So it's like if the kid is in your class and you see the kid also has a screen opened on YouTube, well, there's no reason to shut the kid's screen down and to, you know, we don't have to do that. So that's more or less what it's been for me this year, working with teachers, is just really showing them how to manage a classroom virtually. And so, you know, I do the same thing that I did last year, you know, before COVID hit. I still work with students, you know, just kind of like this. Instead of Zoom, it's Google Meet. So that hasn't changed too much. The kids know me for the most part. It's just helping teachers navigate through this new way of teaching. And, you know, sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not, because the fact of the matter is as teachers, we want to do what's best for kids. And we're like, if you're doing something else and you're not focusing on this, then you're not doing the right thing. And I just try to remind teachers that when a kid's at home, and they've been home, they're sitting in the same place for 6 hours a day. Let them listen to music. If it's not inappropriate, we've got to learn how to just relinquish it just a little bit. So yeah, that's mostly what I do.
Thanks, Sheba. Awesome. Greg, you're up.
All right. I agree with you too. Every day is different. So I was over here, I kind of just was thinking about some consistencies in my day-to-day operations over here. I like personally, I try to be out there for arrival dismissal. I try to see every student every single day. So far we started our hybrid model about just a few weeks ago. We have kids on Monday, Tuesdays, and then we have kids on Thursday, Fridays. Wednesdays are for cleaning. And we have about 50 kids that come Monday, Tuesdays, and then like another 60 that come Thursday, Fridays. And then the majority of our kids are still at home. 4th and 5th grade are still at home. Pre-K through 3rd come right now. Starting April 6th, we have 420 kids in our school, so we got about 270 coming back. And we're super excited for it. But I think this year was just really focusing on just positive relationships and doing whatever we could do to just pour love into our teachers and our students and our school community. And that, those relationships were number one. That even came before actually teaching the kids. So, and then that came next, so I walk around, I love all my staff all day, and they do the same thing with their students. Another consistency is we do wellness meetings each week. And we have a list of kids that we speak about each week. Are they coming to school? How's home life? How are the grades? Do they need anything? Stuff like that. So, and then we meet their needs. If there's kids that went MIA, we're knocking on doors. We're going to houses every single week, and we're figuring out what happened and how do you guys need anything from us? And we try to give them all the resources that are available, at our fingertips. What other things do we do? I think another thing somebody touched on was valuing the time of everybody. Time is so important right now. Some of our teachers are doing 2 jobs where they're teaching in the classroom and online at the same time. So, if it's not extremely important, we're not going to have a meeting about it, and just valuing that time piece. Something I like to touch on that we're doing now is a MOCA. And that's daily check-in. So anybody reporting on site and at home, they have to do a symptom monitoring for COVID. And basically they just have to say either they have symptoms or they don't. And each day, as soon as I get in, I have to check around 9 o'clock if anybody has symptoms. Did somebody forget to check in? So that's a daily thing. And we got to make sure that everybody that comes to work is healthy and they feel well. We also do random, oh my goodness. I'm gonna go get the light.
Motion light.
There it is. Okay.
So, Greg, should we use that as a sign to ask and make sure you're feeling healthy? Is anyone checking on you? Maybe we just use that opportunity.
I think that was my cue. Yeah, the other thing I'd like to touch on is just random COVID testing. So we have a company that comes out every 2 weeks, and they select maybe 7 people at random that are working on site, and they do site testing. They're in and out of here pretty quick. And so that's something new that we got to get adjusted to as well. Yeah, and then one more thing is I think this is has been such a great time for everybody to get creative, because there's no right or wrong way to do this. And that's what I've been telling my teachers, is just get creative as possible. You can do whatever you want, because we don't know this sea that we're navigating right now. So get creative, have fun, do things you don't usually do. Think out, and that's what we've been doing over here at MLK Elementary.
I love it. Love it. Love it. So a lot of what you guys kind of talked about were some kind of flowing into some of the other questions I had. But what I really want to know is like personally and professionally, but I'd love for you guys to each start with, let's talk about personally first. What have you been able to do for yourselves that you are most proud of in the last 12 months? What have you been able to do or maintain or start or whatever for yourself as a whole human?
I can jump in. Also, I'm like having to shift. My light is like blinding right now.
Allison, just go with it. You're a star
sunset here.
profile. You're a star profile. Let the light shine on you. It's all good.
It is 6:30 here, or nighttime, so sun is setting. Anyways, so did you say over the last 12 months? Sorry.
Yep.
Okay. I think one of the biggest things was just accepting that everything can wait. As educators, it's like, okay, there's this like fire in us that we have to like do all the things and get them done and keep pushing forward and changing and innovating and all the things. And yes, this has been a super innovative time, but letting myself rest and actually connecting to the fact that I have to be okay before I can help everyone else be okay. So in the last this is month 6, I started working with a nutritionist, and I've been on a whole like clean eating journey. And it's just been life-changing. So my mental space, my health, every aspect of health right now is shockingly amazing. I'm actually sleeping, and it's just helped me kind of infuse that for my colleagues and my friends, and helping them kind of take care of themselves. So I feel not completely depleted, and I still have that space to kind of help others. So it's just been really great, a great journey that I'm excited to continue on.
I know a lot of people will wonder, like, well, how did you do that? And it's a pandemic, and with kiddos being back to school, and like how and what was your motivation?
So I guess my biggest motivation is I finally just like hit that wall of like, I cannot do this anymore. And I'm very empathic. So I take on a lot of other people's energy and what's happening in our country specifically. And it's like, I want to fix all the things and, learn all the things. And, I just kind of hit this wall where I was feeling a lot of anxiety all the time, and I just couldn't get out of that. And I didn't want to take medicine anymore. And I just hit a wall. I don't know. I just knew I was done being the way I was. And so friends of mine had worked with this nutritionist, and I have had her number for years, and I just never chose to do that. So I told myself it's the best money I can spend is for my health, and the best time I can spend is for my health. And I just stopped I'm being very honest, I stopped making excuses, and really just decided to do it. And I think I'm a huge fan of it, but I also think you have to be in that space that you are ready to devote and be committed to time for yourself and time. And that's really what it is, and you can figure out schedules. I meal prep for an entire month, besides like fish and fruit and veggies. But I just kind of set up structures just like I do at work all the time, but for myself, and really made sure I listened to different people on how they found success with it, and went from there and just tried the whole setting a schedule and sticking to it. And within a week, I would say I had already felt like a different person. So that made it easier to stick with. It's not about the weight loss. It's not about all that. It's just healing my mind, body, and soul at one time. So I just kind of made the decision, set up some structures, which is one of my favorite things to do, is figure out things, and just allowed myself to be okay with doing that for myself. So there's a whole, journaling, meditating, I could go on for hours, but it was just, making the decision and really deciding that I'm going to do this for myself.
And you're glowing and your skin looks amazing.
Oh,
so
thank you.
It's working. It's awesome. Who wants to go next? What have you done for you that you're proud of over these last 12 months?
I can definitely go here, Sandy. So I think over the last 12 months, personally, I've really been able to take the time and see my children grow the way that I should. I think as educators, and for all of you educators that have children, we share our kids with our kids, right? Because when we talk about our kids, it's like, okay, wait, the students are the ones you birthed. And, at least I've always kind of struggled with that balance, and I think being able to stay home and just watching, the emotional and mental changes that my kids have been going through, and then just recognizing that they have emotions just like I have, you know what I mean? They're more than just my kids. These are full humans. And, my oldest daughter is a senior in college, but around this time last year, I think this very day last year, I was driving 32 hours from Las Vegas, Nevada to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to save her because they were clearing her campus out. And, that's the thing about, especially and I don't know, those of you who are parents to adult children, that is a very, very different type of parenting relationship. You see that child that you raised, and then you see the young man or woman that they are, and then realizing that you were just there to really just to guide and inspire Adam and hope for the best. But, when she was home with us, really, I was just able, to look her in the eye, to make sure that she was eating well. And, that relationship just grew. And so that's what this year has really done for me. It's allowed me to spend quality time with my kids and just to really support them in the ways that I really don't think I was doing when I was working in the building. It's like every Friday I'm going to stay until 5 because I have to get these things done. And then every teacher knows you're bringing stuff home anyway, so that, just being home working remotely has really eliminated a lot of that. And, so that personally, that's been the best thing that's happened this last year.
I love it. Love it, Shiva. Thank you. And yeah, adult parent-child parenting. My kiddo's 19. Oh yeah, it's a journey. It's an adventure. I'll just leave it at that. Favorite human on the planet, and it's an adventure. Right. Greg, go for it. What about you?
I agree with Sheba. I feel like this whole pandemic kind of was a blessing in disguise as far as like getting some of my personal time back and some of me back. I was a new administrator working plenty of hours at a school that was underperforming. I was here till 7:30 p.m., sometimes 8 p.m. every single night, and that took away the gym and all my personal life. I wasn't able to see my family as much. So when this whole thing happened, it seemed like all of that work kind of slowed down a little bit, and there was a lot of work to do, but at the same time, we didn't have behaviors, so I wasn't sitting, that eliminate half my job right there, not having behaviors. So I was able to, take a step back and get my life back a little bit. I was able to get back in the gym. I was losing interest in the gym. It wasn't a priority. I now just hired a trainer recently to kick my butt, and he does. And that actually helps me sleep at night, because I would get like some anxiety from, I've had a lot of loss in my life. And then also like, I'm thinking like my brain's going crazy about work all night and I can't sleep. So this guy is doing a good job making me like, I'm so tired when I get to bed. It's like, oh, go right to bed. So that's been pretty nice. I was also able, I bought a house about 4 years ago, and my yard has not been looking the best for the longest time. And I was able to shovel out all the old rocks and do my whole landscape. So now I have a nice looking, landscape. I got the AstroTurf, so it's low maintenance. I'm loving it. And then just a recent thing I did, I went out on an impulse decision because I've always wanted a truck. And I got rid of my little Chevy Cruze 2 weeks ago, and I got me a little off-roading Chevy Colorado. It's 2021. I didn't want to get the 2020 just because I don't want those bad vibes.
That might be a thing in the future where no one buys any 2020 cars.
Nope. Nope. So yeah, I got my truck now. I'm loving it. I love driving to work, and and I just love driving. I've just drove around all weekend. That's all I did was just blow through a whole tank of gas, and I didn't even feel bad about it. And gas prices are through the roof right now, so that's kind of insane. And then I just scheduled a camping trip for that first couple days of spring break coming up over here on the 26th. So I'm going to be going camping in my new truck with my boys and go fishing. I'm going to have a good old time. So that, personal life has been pretty good lately.
I love it. I love it. And so with that, I know that a lot of educators that I work with and a lot that I hear from around the world is there's a switch at some point, and this goes even beyond education, right? This is kind of a human thing, where you're so like in it that you can't see it, and then all of a sudden you shift and find this quote unquote balance that everyone's seeking, and it's unique for everyone, right? What was that shift for each of you where you were like, oh, I'm worth it? Like, no more burning the midnight oil, like grinding so hard. Because each of you mentioned a version of that, hey, I stopped this because this is, much more worth it. What was that? And what, was there a moment? Was there a catalyst? What was that nugget that made the shift for you? Greg, do you have it in your mind? Not yet. Greg's still thinking.
I can go ahead and speak about that first, Sandy. I think the shift was maybe sometime last, I want to say April, and just on social media, all of these friends that I have, and one of my friends that I've known from high school, his mother passed away from COVID. And then you started hearing more stories about, well, my kids have it, or these other, when it was still kind of fresh and they didn't have all of the information that they have now. And I just thought, life is such a, in all of its beauty and all of its ugliness and, its loss and its pain, what we have, if we can say that we can wake up, we have life to do whatever it is we're going to do with it that day, then that's a day to change. Because I was waking up, I had all three of my children in the house, my husband was healthy, I wasn't out of any work, the money didn't stop coming into my house, and hear people dealing with loss, and then they couldn't even mourn and grieve in the ways that they were accustomed to. So I think that was really just a shift for me. I'm going to kill myself for what? Because at the end of the day, my children and the people that love me and just what I needed to do for me, it's not the work that I'm doing, it's who I am. If I were just, and heaven forbid, drop dead now, no one's going to say, hope she graded her papers. No, nobody's concerned about any of that. So I think that was the shift for me. Yeah, definitely a shift.
And those of you watching right now, if you are in a similar scenario and you had a shift, go ahead and share in the chat or in the comments on Facebook. What was that catalyst for you to find that balance for yourself? But Allison, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I've had multiple shifts. I was the teacher that the custodian was like he still is my best friend, but because I was the first one there and the last one, he's walking me to my car, he's now my Florida dad. That's what we call him. But I was, and it wasn't because I felt like, people were watching. This was what I wanted to do. Work, like teaching is who I am. And so it had to shift from teaching is not who I am. Teaching is what I'm passionate about. And that shift has there's several things. And Sandy, you've played a huge part in it. When we first met Sandy through her sister, who was our school psychologist, it was just like, like someone is speaking what I know is in here, but, I couldn't give myself the permission to feel that. And so it's been a few different shifts, and it's definitely, again, last March when this all started, just a remind that was like my big reminder, like, oh yeah, I was getting to that space again where it's just these habits that I've wired in my brain since forever. Just, it's so hard to rewire the brain when it comes to these patterns that we've been doing for so long. And so I think it's just, I went to Bali with Sandy, did some major meditation, and really just kind of, before I started like the clean eating journey, it was like a wellness journey had started without me being super intentional about it. I just started like being drawn to things. And so, certain type of people and going to meditation class, and I'm not a yoga person, but trying yoga here and there. And so I think it's just, I don't know that I can pinpoint one single thing. I think so many things are happening all the time in our lives. I've had, family members who've gotten sick. I've had friends who are my age, which I consider to be still somewhat young, pass away. And it's kind of like what Shiva was saying, you just start to pay attention to going, oh, wait, if I'm not showing up and taking that time, like why are we, I think Sandy, you had said this to us when you started working with us. It's like, why are we working for the weekend? Like, then what happened those 5 days in the middle of the week? Like, I just didn't value those. So I think that shift has just kind of taken place in a couple different ways, not just one big moment. And then last spring, it was a big moment that just said, oh, remember this thought that you had, you're not working till, oh, thank goodness it's Friday, which yes, we still have those moments. But yeah, I think it's just a collective shift that happened for me.
Yeah, and you mentioned something that really kind of stood out to me is noticing. And that's one of the key things that I talk about all the time is just start noticing. I mean, that's like the first pivotal, like if you were going to teach it to someone else, like how to do this, is just start noticing. Just start noticing. Does it resonate? Does it not? Is it working for you or is it not? And just start noticing the sensations. I talk about visceral reactions all the time. What kind of visceral reaction are you having to whatever you're experiencing? What is that? And notice. And then the second step is getting curious. But that noticing, and even noticing in my world of becoming a relationship systems coach, we call them universal flirts. And it's, what are those little things that you notice that you're like, oh, look at that, or oh, look at that. Whether it's a butterfly or whether it's, a certain leaf blowing or whatever it is that is catching your attention, being drawn to different groups of friends, those kind of things. Like, just start noticing and going, maybe I want to get curious about this path. Maybe I want to get curious about this path, right? And just being open to that. And knowing that life is about evolution. And Shiva, I think you referred to that as well, as like just understanding that it's all in evolution and savoring what is right now. Like, so beautiful how you guys both articulated that in different ways. So Greg, what was it for you?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I stepped on the scale. I looked down and I was like, oh, Greg, this is not good. You you need to get it together. So but besides that, I think, like I said, that the whole COVID deal, working remotely, gave me more time to think. And I don't know, it's just like one day I'm like, Greg, what do you want to do? What do you love to do besides your job? And I wrote down everything that, I would like to do or I want to do. And then I set a date by everything. So like, I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. I had a guitar sitting around for like years and I never ever picked it up. So I was like, well, why don't we do guitar lessons? So I picked a date. I went down to Guitar Center and I jumped on lessons. Like I said, I got a trainer, and I just kind of just wrote things down. And even like I wanted to go to a snowboarding trip, and I went on that in January. So I just had time to just really think about my thought process, what I want to do, and create goals and a timeline. And yeah, I think that just having more time to think really helped me shift my focus and shift it from working a million miles a minute every single day, even on the weekends, to, hey, you have a lot of life in you. Don't spend it all in one place.
Yeah, I love that. I think we talked about that a few webinars ago, is like understanding that we all have this wheel of life. And if this wheel of life is a tire and half of it is flat, your life's not going to flow really well. It's going to kind of feel clunky, right? Versus even if you're only at 50% all the way around, you're able to roll forward, right? You're able to grow. So it's not about being 100% at everything. It's about, finding whatever that version of balance is for you. What are those buckets of your life, right? And how do you want to fill them, and being intentional. And you all have also mentioned about the having time to think. Well, who gave you that time? Because there are humans on this planet right now in this pandemic that don't feel that way. So how did you know you had permission to take the time to think, to get to these solutions that are working for you?
I could jump in on that. Usually, like, it's always in front of me. I always have my to-do list. Whoop, whoop. And
Such a deal maker. That makes you so happy to go.
so it's always there. And yeah, I was working from home, and I was like trying to find things to put on my to-do list. And I was like, there's nothing, Greg. There's nothing. Put it aside. And then I found my think time. Simple answer.
I love it. I love it. And again, it doesn't have to be complex. There's, sanity in this crazy, adventurous hybrid world doesn't have to be complex. It's in those simple moments where you take your power back, right? Or you step on the scale and go, oh, bleep, which, pick your word, right? And, or you, just look yourself in the eyes in the mirror and go, is this working for me? Maybe not. Okay. What are you going to do about it? Because no one else is going to do it for you, right? Yeah. Sheba, go ahead.
So I was just going to say, you were asking who gave me the permission, and I just you just realize that no one gives you anything. We are adults. We own ourselves. And I mean, I just think if I gave myself the permission to be a nut job and to do more than I needed to do, no offense to any nut jobs, because that's me, like, 70% of the time. I mean, I just figure, why not empower myself to not kill myself? I mean, it's like you said, it's simple, and especially, and I just want to say this, especially being a teacher, and maybe some of you can relate, but we are kind of control freaks. We like things the way we like them. Any family gathering I go to, I can always tell the teachers. You know what I mean? You've got the food served in a certain way. You've picked out helpers. People don't even know why they're taking pictures. They're like, I don't know, your aunt put me here. And that's the aunt that's been a third grade teacher for the last 30 years. So I think we already have that ability. We already know how we want things. We know how to direct, 59-year-olds to do it, and to do it right now. Greg, for you know how to direct 420 kiddos to do it and to make it happen right now. So I think that's where the permission came from. Sandy, it's the permission to allow myself to breathe. I've always had it. I just wasn't using it in the right way.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Absolutely. You do have it. And I think that's one of the things that I love to shine a light on educators for is, let me just hold up the mirror for you and point out let me show you what you do want to do. Do you recognize all these things? Like, let me just hold it, like, fog it up a little bit. Let me show you, right? Breathe with me for a second, because you're freaking brilliant. Take a pause, zoom up here, Just come up 100 feet with me. You don't have to come up to 1,000. Just zoom out of the forest to 100 feet with me. Look at this. You're doing this. You're growing this garden. Do it with intention, right? Allison, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think for me, it was as the instructional coach and, coaching people on their instruction, I was really, and as a teacher, I did this too. You try to kind of like keep your brain in that space of like, okay, when I was a kid, what did I like? What did I want to do? And so now that I'm not in the classroom, I'm like, okay, as a teacher, how would I think? And I always was finding myself saying like, okay, teacher brain in like leadership or support meetings, just to kind of reel it back into like, y'all have no recollection of what's happening in a classroom. We need to reel this in. And so for me, it was, I set an intention. I was reading like Jim Knight's Coaching Conversations book or one of his books. And this was like towards the beginning of becoming an instructional coach. And I was like, what is an instructional coach? And I was really trying to be intentional in my listening skills because my brain likes to be like, oh, I already have an answer for you as you're talking. And that might be that type A situation that Sheba was mentioning. But as I was trying to be a better listener, I started realizing that my own brain was going 100 miles a minute. I was waking up at 2 a.m. like, oh, I have to put this note in my phone. So when I go to school tomorrow, I'll do A, B, C, and D. And as I was talking to teachers, it just, this constant frustration was there and a constant like, but I'm not doing enough. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, did you just see what you just did? Like, that was amazing. Look at this growth you're seeing. You're not going to get it with every single kid. That's why we're here, And so I think it just came through all of those listening moments and the conversations and looking at my notes from conversations with teachers, looking at my own personal brain dumps and going, wow, that's a lot. Like I need a moment. And so realizing, having that aha of, wow, we all are constantly going. And no wonder why we're all anxious. And I think there was a time, we have like this forum at the beginning of every school year where our sister schools that are charters, we all come and do like professional development together. And I was like, teachers are awkward birds. Like why can't anyone socialize with each other? And then I was realizing, it's like, because we're just so in it. And it's like to come out and talk to an adult, you're like, wait, what are we talking about? We're not talking about kids. What do we have to talk about? And so I think through all of that, I was like, I need a moment to like release some of this and not be thinking about the school. And it's taken practice to go, no, stop. You're having this 45 minutes of non-school thought and practice and whatever. And then after that 45 minutes, if you have one of those thoughts, cool. But just kind of giving myself that permission after really being witness to all having like that higher level looking down at it kind of thing. That's kind of what it took for me to just be able to go, okay, you're allowed to like step away at this moment.
Yeah, for sure. And it takes practice. You said that, right? It is that these things, unfortunately, were not how we were raised. It's not what we were taught in school. And yet you all as educators are part of the education revolution by now teaching these things to your kiddos, right? And we're calling it social emotional learning. We're calling it, we're labeling it as things. But at the end of the day, it's consciousness. It's evolution as a human to be self-aware lifelong learners, right? That's the whole premise of Genius School Global and why I'm a part of that movement with them. And we have a Genius Educator certification that's going on right now that I'll be jumping back into after this. And super inspired by those edupreneurs who are taking the leap to go, okay, this is the path for what's next. Because the more you grow your consciousness and evolve as an educator, and the more you inspire and influence that in young people, the more we create this amazing ripple effect on the planet, where we actually can focus on who we show up as, right? How we step up in the world, how we fuel our inner genius. You know, we teach this to the kiddos at Genius Camp, and then how we give back. You know, it's all about show up, step up, give back, right? It's self-awareness, self-mastery, self-expression. However you want to label it, that's the evolution of life. And we go through it in a hero's journey all the time. And so once you start noticing that and you start taking your power back and going, okay, this might be a dark time in my hero's journey, might need to go into my cave for a little bit, but then I'm going to reemerge and I'm going to have so many amazing lessons from this. And I'm going to look back and go, yep, those were some cool lessons. Sucked going through it, but I'm grateful for it because now I've learned that and I can grow forward. So noticing that and witnessing that in and of ourselves and giving ourselves permission to be exactly where we're at. And I'm just summarizing everything you guys have been talking about, right? Is just to be able to grow from an empowered place, not from a victim place, right? From a place of being in alignment with your core values, understanding that wheel of what's important to you. How do I really align my values to my behaviors, how I'm spending my time, because where I spend my time is in what I value, right? So, and then focusing, and we've all talked about this in several different formats, is energy management versus time management. And we've been doing these webinars for a little over a year now, at least twice a month. There was a point when I was doing them every week. And I've gotten to this place, speaking of evolution, where I have my eyes set on creating a podcast instead. So after today, because we're going to go out with a bang, because this was the most fabulous panel that I could have dreamed to put together. And so today is kind of a culmination of the wisdom, right? And I want to shine a light on all of the amazing edupreneurs and conscious educators around the planet. And I want to do it in a podcast format. So I am currently learning that world with Raina, my incredible executive assistant, who I don't know what I ever did without. And so she and I are learning that world, and we're going to be putting some things together. I don't have a timeline yet for when it's going to launch, but this will be the last of this format. I'll still jump on and do lives. I may call you guys out of the blue and say, hey, want to do a live with me? Because it's fun and random. So hopefully you guys will be game to go, share. I got 30 minutes, let's roll. Because I just want to keep this movement growing. And that's the purpose of the Conscious Educator group on Facebook, is just to have that central meeting place. And I know that Facebook, you either love it or you don't, and or somewhere in between. But it's a platform tool for me. It's a gathering place. So if you happen to want to just create a Facebook profile for that purpose only, I'd love to have you if you don't have one already, because we need each other. Because this education revolution is not going to happen with just one of us. And I feel like part of my purpose on this planet is to bring y'all into the same room. There's so many of you around this world. Let's just bring y'all into the same room so you can learn and feel like you're not alone, and have this conscious community to really lean on and grow with, so that we can do this together. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you, which is kind of a culmination, not surprisingly, I put together this school leader tips. It's just a PDF download. I put it together, oh my gosh, probably 5 years ago. And it is something that I just want to give to you guys for free. So we're gonna drop the link into the chat and into the Facebook group. Raina's already dropped it in. It's just a PDF of 3 school leader tips to really add more balance to your day. Put this together a long time ago. Use it, tweak it, modify it, whatever you want, because that's what we do as educators, right? We share. So this is my ability to share. Greg's telling us it's nighttime. And what I'd love to be able to do as we kind of close this is to have each of you give what would be your nugget of wisdom to share with this global community of conscious educators. What would your little last nugget of wisdom be? And for anyone who's watching, please just, if you have a question, go ahead and type it in the chat or in the Facebook comments. Who wants to go first with your last little nugget of wisdom to this conscious educator? Greg, go for it.
Go really fast. Teachers and educators, don't be afraid to get creative, get curious, and just keep showing up. There's good days, there's bad days. We all have them. But continue doing what you're doing. Don't get discouraged. You guys are all fabulous out there. You're making a difference, even though, sometimes it feels like we're not. We're making a difference, all of us.
Absolutely, Greg. High five to that for sure. Who wants to go next?
Okay, I can go. So I would just tell all the wonderful educators out there is even when it doesn't seem like the world or, the districts you work in value you, just value yourself. Just remember to continue to love your students, to love the craft, because as educators, we are one of the few fields, okay, like besides librarians, who give what we know, and we are, lifelong learners. We give what we know away. That's our measure of success. And how beautiful to say that we have spent all of this time learning and loving just to give it away. And if you can just at the end of the day say that, you've already made the difference. So thank you.
I love it, Sheba. Thank you. Allison.
I love that so much. I think just give yourself the space to be who you are right now. Like exactly how you're showing up. If you're having a day where you're like, this is awful, let yourself say, this is awful. Because the judgment that we place on ourselves when we're having those days and trying to compare to everyone else around us, it adds that other layer that just keeps holding you back. So just love yourself, how you're showing up, and give yourself that space. And every time you think I'm not doing enough, you are. As long as you're showing up and giving something, then you are doing more than enough.
I love it. Love it. Love it. For those of you watching, please type in the comments, what is the nugget that you are taking away? So that those who may stumble upon this video later can scroll through the comments and really be inspired to listen to the whole conversation. Go ahead and type in the chat or in the comments on Facebook, what are you taking away? What was your nugget of wisdom from this time together? And I am so grateful to this community and for being able to bring you guys together. And for each of the three of you, Greg and Sheba and Allison, like I adore each of you for so many reasons. So inspired and so proud of the work that you're doing personally and professionally, and the ripple effect that you're creating, not only in your own lives, but for the lives of everyone that you touch. You guys are doing it, and it's truly inspiring to watch. So much gratitude for each of the three of you for who you show up as in the world. And for those of you watching, thank you so much for being here and being a part of this Global Impact Educator webinar for so long, for the last 12 months. And I'll see you all on the flip side of the podcast world. And just stay tuned. I will be promoting that like crazy as soon as I'm ready with all of it. Just know I'm in the learning phases. So if anyone has any nuggets of wisdom, drop them in the comments on Facebook or send me a direct message. However you want to reach out to me is fine. I am learning all of the wisdom. So I love it. But thank you everyone so much. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Wishing you all well. Thank you guys so much for being here. Bye everyone.